Thank you for the time, Mike. So, as Mike had put it, so we are organizing this the Historic Cities Series 2025, and where Heritopolis is a collaborator, knowledge partner, along with Altrim, ICOMOS India, Drona, and National Institute of Urban Affairs. So basically, what we conceived this historic city series as uh, designed as specific events where city coordinators, in dialogue with city-specific collaborating organizations and as well as institutions, we organize events, and they are under three themes: approach to historic urban landscape, heritage toolkits and manuals, and heritage awareness and interpretation. And these events are designed for half a day or 2 days, depending on the city and how the coordinator feels about it. So it officially uh, was inaugurated. So we're planning between June 1st, 2025 and November 2025. So we had a, so let me take you through the themes. So approach to a historic urban landscape, and then so we have these thematic questions that we were asking, whether, were there any traditional treaties, codes, norms at the time as part of the knowledge system of the HUL, and how can they be helpful in understanding the planning and evolution of our city, and how was the landscape approach integrated to historic city planning in India that back then. And then we had a sub theme followed by importance of a landscape approach to heritage, importance of integrating heritage into urban development, investigating in making heritage a driving direction for sustainable development goals. And so the questions that we were asking were, does the city development plan take a holistic view of heritage? How does HUL address issues of climate change in our cities? How can we link historic cities development with SDGs? Then another sub-theme within that is supporting the decision makers for urban heritage, urban development, all related to departments to better integrate heritage into development plans. Theme two, we were talking about heritage toolkits and manuals that we will develop slowly over the next 1 year as part two of Historic Cities Series 2026. And we are asking importance of heritage toolkits and manuals. What are the existing toolkits available of city stakeholders, so on and so forth. Investigating in toolkits, manuals, supporting implementation of awareness and toolkits and manuals. And theme three, heritage awareness and interpretation. And we're also asking about importance of awareness and interpretation about urban heritage, and supporting research, development, practice, and heritage awareness and interpretation. And so we had a inaugural, opening of the Historic Cities series on 18th April, which is a World Heritage Day in Delhi at the ICOMOS Center for Excellence, which is in collaboration with the Indira Gandhi Center for Technical Education for Women. And so we had Professor K.T. Ravindran as a keynote speak on the day, and so officially we had launched the Historic City Series on the day. Moving on, we signed, rather Drona signed an MOU uh, uh, with NIUA, and we had participation from Heritopolis, ICOMOS India, NIUA, and Altrim. And moving on, so now as part of the awareness program and as part of developing toolkits, we're having this series, and we have so far covered, we started with Jaipur edition, and we moved on to, we have so far had the Chandigarh edition, preserving a modernist vision or adapting to a dynamic future. We have had a Dehradun edition, Historic Cities edition Dehradun, which looked at the approach to Indian cities planning and HUL. Then moving on to the other editions, the Maharashtra edition, which is the Nagpur edition. We have had Nasik edition, again Maharashtra. We've had Pune edition. We have had Historic Urban Landscape, Greater Kolkata and Metropolitan edition as part of the series, which we call the Kolkata edition. Moving south, we have had the Manipal edition of Historic City Series. These are some of the illustrations of the dialogue that took place between municipality, local municipality, and the Manipal University. And we have had coming up north of India, we've had Jammu edition, which organized Old City Heritage Walk, a photography competition, where we were talking about echoes of culture, heritage, and architecture. Then we have had a walk, another walk of Mubarak Mandi and Heritage Walk. This is the historic area of Jammu, the city of Jammu. Then coming to Mumbai, historic city, the Navi Mumbai edition, we talked about reimagining modern heritage of Navi Mumbai, followed by, these are not in sequence, but I have just put the slides as and when, the events took place. So the Udaipur edition happened way back in July, the city edition. So these are like different cities that we covered as part of the Historic Cities series. Then again, Satara edition, the Ahmedabad edition we've had, which talked about living heritage and cultural dynamism, which happened very recently, October 11th. Satara edition again, followed by rediscovering Satara. It's a historic area. Then we have the Amritsar edition. So Amrut funded Center of Urban Planning and Capacity Building collaborated along with Center for Sustainable Habitat. And so we've had a 2-day workshop where we talked about water and heritage. We talked about Hriday in Amritsar, which came out from the historic urban landscape approach. Then we talked about the intangible, tangible city approach, intangible and tangible heritage of Amritsar, which was covered by Niyati. And then I covered the SDG and HUL and heritage management with focus on Delhi. Sorry, Amritsar. Moving on, this was a 2-day workshop and then conference. And then moving on, the Delhi edition. So we organized Dilli Nama, which is basically we had a dialogue of focusing on the master plan and how to go forward with it. We had a panel discussion. And we also had the Historic City Series 2025 India edition also in Delhi, which actually we had a book launch and a roundtable discussion from experts. So this is the panel discussion pictures. I coordinated chaired the panel and coordinated the panel, and we had Katie Ravindran, we had Manu Bhatnagar, experts from the field, we had NIUA, we had INTAC. So moving on, we recently we also the Historic City series. We presented a joint paper titled Urban Risks and Resilience in Historic Cities of India, and it was presented at the ICOMOS AGA, which recently took place in Lumbini. So thank you. So now moving on, what we're looking at is, as Mike said, so we are putting together, I'm going to stop the slide share. Yeah. So what we are doing is we're putting together an exhibition end of December in Delhi, where all the city panels and whatever we covered in different cities as part of the Historic City series. We put in the panels and we have a 1 month long exhibition. I think it's IIC or IHC, we have to look at it. And so, and Heritopolis is going to have a panel here. So Mike had very kindly shared his presentation with me of when he presented at part of the distinguished lecture series at the Center for Sustainable Habitat in India. So I shared the PPT with the organizers taking care of the panel. Now, I'm part of the curator of the exhibition. So now Drona Shikha is she's the director of Drona. Thank you, Dee. So Shikha is going to take out the slides from Mike, and she's going to select the slides, and then we're going to have a design structure in the panel, and we're going to put it. So that is going to be from Heritopolis. So it's basically coming out of Mike's presentation, but Mike, we still have a day. So if anybody wants to contribute, but we're basically looking at Asia and yeah, we're focusing on Asia. So if anybody can want to contribute into the slide, but we would need high resolution images. So that's from me. And yes, Mike, I totally agree with you about making a statement for UN Habitat. that we could bring in that the different continent, different works, and we could have it together for sustainable habitat. So I'll sign off from here. Thank you so much. You are on mute, Mike.
Yeah. So there's a question from Jay. How many Indian cities are part of the program?
It is amazing. When we started, we were not sure what's happening, but I think it is growing. And till date, we have covered about 20 cities and 21. I'm not counting Lucknow. And so far we are 20 plus cities, and there are more coming in. So we have to ask people to keep it for the next year. So we'll because we don't have time for the panel and everything. So this is definitely 20 plus cities, and I'll give you the correct number at the end of November. So we still have a few
Okay.
things.
Well, I can see Linda and Bernard are here from Hong Kong, so I think that we could perhaps rope them in for one of the last series to join.
Yes, absolutely. We could have panels from Linda from Hong Kong.
Right. Um, Again, the idea, as I said, is that we need to distill from this what are the issues that these 20 cities are facing, and what is the role within the metropolis, because these are the complex structures, and therefore, what is the role of the heritage in this thing? And so, therefore, we were going to looking for each one of you who are responsible for one of these events to help us to craft a statement. And as I said, it's not more than a page. But if
Sure.
there are any other questions or comments on the Indian cities, or of course, India is a subcontinent within itself. Okay, so let's Lana, you in fact before the you can give us a background to what happened in Maruf of the Istanbul.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Mike. Sorry, yes, I was a bit late for entering. Yes, it was really great pleasure, as we already talked about it, to be part of such a great event such as Maruf 25, and especially with the great group of people who joined the session. And session was about natural disaster-prone historic metropolitan environment. And I will just give some brief, let's say, introduction to overall topics that were tackled during the session. It was actually the idea was to discuss disaster-prone large urban environment, as I said, metropole, and about actions which are necessary for reconstruction following a disaster. And it also highlighted the seismic risk of Istanbul, which is a huge metropolitan area of over 16 million inhabitants, and also the threats that earthquake is creating for the historic peninsula and all outstanding universal values. But beyond only earthquake, of course, there are some other natural disaster threats such as due to climate changes, floods, etc. So we have discussed the aspect to understand also state of the preparedness for historic peninsula, and actually also the importance of knowing that it should go beyond only physical building recovery plan and reconstruction. So the role of heritage in addressing resilience needed for post-disaster recovery is to emphasize the significance of community involvement and engagement of memory and intangible values. And therefore, this was a forward-thinking effort, and also as Antonella emphasized, metropolis to be understood as a heritage itself, not a static object, and to preserving as a living infrastructure that informs participation, resilience, and governance. So we, during the session, we have heard, and they participated, Remy Sitchping from UN Habitat, Mehmet Kuchuk Mehmedoğlu, he is Dean of the Istanbul Technical University Faculty of Architecture, Professor Associate Professor Ömer Dabanlı, Muhammed Ziya Pakos, both from Istanbul Technical University Faculty of Architecture, and Professor Antonella Contin from Politecnico di Milano, and as well as Hertopolis. So Professor Mehmet gave a brief presentation where he also introduced the threat of Istanbul, which is not only due to, and especially the historical peninsula, not only as a matter of earthquakes as a sudden disaster, but also about real slow and silent disaster. And we try to emphasize the question what should be done to be ready and prepared for such a huge area. And then he discussed the Pareto balance between preservation and regeneration. So although earthquakes appear to be in great risk, also abandonment cause more damage as a very, let's say, slow process, and then it affects already the social structure itself and intangible heritage. Then further on, also Remy from UN Habitat, he contributed from talking on the policy and governance perspective to the other, to the resilience, heritage, and related themes. And in a conclusion, we agreed that in historical area we must add not only physical preservation, regeneration to this, but also social memory, urban vitality, and culture and solidarity. The real optimum lies at the intersection of technical solution and social values. Discussions have once again showed that historical cities under disaster risk gain resilience not only through engineering calculations, but also through social fabric and cultural continuity. And also we throughout this discussion on the preparation and what else might be of use is also about mentioning tools such as cartography, cultural based and natural based solutions, and how they could be part of the entire preparation process. So it was quite interesting and comprehensive. I just gave some of the, let's say, but it was very important for us really to, in a way, also raise awareness and how the different levels of the governance has to be involved in all the process, with a special emphasis on the participation of the local communities. So I hope I could deliver some of the messages from Maruf. But this is quite. I want to say this is just or quite challenging topic, and the Maruf we have opened and tackled some of the topics that should be developed throughout different maybe projects in the future. And in Istanbul Technical, I will use chance to say that we are starting with the more intensively operating now in Istanbul Technical University with the Center for Post-Crisis Urban Reconstruction, and hopefully together that we can, and also to talk more on these topics with also Marmara Belediye, I'm not sure now in English, the Maruf organizers, that we can discuss on these topics as well and develop some solid ground.
It's very early in the morning for Moses, but Moses gave us a very, very important presentation on New York, and also similarly also the issues of flooding and climate. So I think that if we're going to do a voluntary report for WOOF 13, I think this is a critical subject. It's a critical subject, and I'm pleased that that we managed to put it together, and we do need to make sure that, again, we'll at the end of the after we had a round of presentations, we'll just look at some text and see exactly what we need to be able to address and who else would like to add. So I would like to see the possibility of adding some text from the presentation which was made by Moses in York, and I'm sure that Mo would have something to add from area of Lagos. Moses, you want to add something?
Yeah, I would be happy to try to add text. We also just came out with a major report on the effects of flooding on housing in New York City that we could draw from too. If you send me the text, I would love to take a look and add what I can.
Great. Mo, you want to add something about disasters in Lagos?
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Well said, Lana. I think it's very good to say that I'm actually involved in the conversations about some of the mitigations. So I'll be able to report on the status on how Lagos is addressing these things. So just like what Moses said, I'd really appreciate if this can be shared and I'm able to clearly contribute to this. But thank you for recommending this my way.
Yeah. Okay, so gradually, I think that just taking together all these activities, we'll be able to really come up with some very innovative statement about the importance of the role of the metropolis, and that's what is a critical point which I think we need to put on